Hey everybody, John from Retired Rider. Hope you all are doing well today. Got a little topic I want to touch on. I don't know if you notice when you're riding, wherever you ride in your neighborhood, places like that, places close to home, or just out riding the same route every day. Do you ever notice there'll be a motorcycle sitting somewhere in somebody's driveway? And if you go by that place every day or very often, that motorcycle is still sitting there. Sometimes they're covered up and they're just there every day. Every time you go by, that motorcycle's there. Or sometimes they're just left out in the elements and they're just sitting there. That motorcycle's just sitting there every day. And I wonder about that sometimes. And I think, now is that person riding that motorcycle? Or is it broke down? Did they lose interest? Why do they have that motorcycle sitting in their driveway if they're not using it? I don't know. It's not a big topic. It's just something that I was thinking about. I do have that situation here where I live, where the motorcycle's just sitting there every day. It's just there all the time. I'm retired, and I go out riding, and I see that motorcycle just every time I have to go by the place, because when I exit, that's where I go. And I see the motorcycle there every day, every time I go out riding. So I started looking around and kind of paying attention more to my surroundings and driveways, people's driveways and everything, not spying on anybody or anything. And I realized, man, there's a lot of that, where there's either a motorcycle sitting on the porch covered up, or in the driveway, like I said, not covered up. Just sitting there, and it's like it never moves. It's in the exact same spot. Now, could those people be riding? I just don't know that. That's a possibility. But I know a few that I see, they're pretty weathered and look like they've been sitting in the weather and not moved for a long time. And I just wonder why you would purchase a motorcycle. Now, it could be broke down. And bikes are very expensive to fix. It's not a cheap thing to fix bikes. It's not a cheap thing to own a bike. Bikes are not cheap, especially these days. And I just wonder why you would buy a motorcycle and let it sit in the weather, or sit on the porch, or sit under a tarp, or even in your garage if you're never going to ride it. Like I said, it's a possibility that the motorcycle could be broke down. Maybe something happened to them and they can't ride anymore, or I don't know. It just strikes me as strange. If you have a motorcycle, why are you not riding it? And if there's nothing wrong with the motorcycle and nothing wrong with you and you're not riding it, then why have it? Put it out there on the market, sell it. Maybe somebody else can get some enjoyment out of it. I don't know. It was just a thought that I was having, because I kept seeing that same motorcycle sitting there. And to me, I don't know. I think if you're going to have that, a motorcycle, or even a car, or even any kind of vehicle, why not get out and drive it? Why let it just sit there and just basically rot away? Now I see a lot of people on. I look through the marketplace on Facebook and the list and all that, and I look just to be looking, because you never know when you're going to find a deal. You never know when you're going to get on marketplace and or the list, and you might find a deal where somebody's you got a great deal. They're not asking a ton of money. It's a nice bike, low miles, and you can snatch up something that's really nice. I always like to have a second bike. You guys know that. I've told you that before. Unfortunately, we don't have one now, which is that's fine. We're in the process of moving and selling the house, so I really don't need nothing else sitting around right now anyway. But why not, if you're not going to ride it, why not put it on, why not sell it? Just my opinion, why not sell it, get that bike out there and let somebody else enjoy it? If you're not going to drive a certain car and it's just sitting there and you're just, and it's just, basically rusting away, why not put it on the list or marketplace and sell it to somebody that can enjoy the vehicle? I don't know, maybe some people just like to have a bike in their garage, and they ride every once in a while. Maybe every once in a blue moon they'll get on the bike and ride, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just I hate to see anything that, especially a motorcycle, but even a car or anything like that, or a truck, just sitting there and not being rode or driven, just rotting away. I don't know. That just kind of bothers me a little bit. If I could, I'll tell you this right now, if I had a big enough place, big enough pole barn, I would have, and I could afford it, I would have a bike to ride every day of the week. I'd have bikes everywhere. I mean, because that's just how I am. And I would make sure I rode every one of them. When you let something sit, and it just sits there, and it sits, months on end, years on end, I don't care if it's only got 2,000 miles on it. By the time, you let it sit 2 or 3, 4 years, pretty much the bike's gonna need a whole redo. You might get lucky, you might be able to change the oil and do some certain things, maybe change some rotors or something like that, and maybe get it rolling again. But the worst thing you can do to any kind of vehicle is let it sit and not ride it. I hear people talk about, like we just turned over, I want to say, we're well over 18,000 miles on this Road King. We've only had it since May of 2020, and we put a lot of miles on this summer, and we're not done yet. So I think we're up to 6,000 miles this summer. And I just, and actually that's, people say, well, you're putting a lot of miles on your bike. You shouldn't put that many miles on your bike. Harleys are only good for 40,000 miles, or you should put that. I didn't buy this bike to worry about how many miles I'm putting on it. I bought this bike to ride it, to enjoy it, to be out there in the wind. I didn't buy my truck. I worry a little bit about the trucks, a little bit of a different animal. I do worry about just unnecessary miles, but I'm going to drive my truck. I'm not going to let, my, truck just sit in the driveway and never drive it because, I don't want to put the miles on it. That's the whole point of owning anything, of owning a really nice truck, of owning a motorcycle. That's the point, is to get out and use it. Sitting in the garage, sitting in the driveway, sitting under a tarp, whatever. What enjoyment is that? Now, much respect if that's what you want to do and you want to have a bike just sitting there. So if you get, one day decide you want to ride, that's fine. But if you're, like I said, if you're letting it sit there for months on end, weeks on end, and just never getting on it, never riding it, and you think you're going to just go out one day and ride it, you might have some issues with it. Critters get up in things and eat wires. The brakes, the fluid goes bad in them. The tires are definitely going to be flat spotted. So, if you own something like that, and it's best to, at least start it up, running around the block. Keep it in the garage. Mechanical things are built to be used. And I know some people don't understand this, and I know a lot of you do, is use it. It's better to use the motorcycle or the vehicle than not use it. I mean, to some people that might not make sense, but having 18,000 miles on this bike in a few years is great in my opinion. And for people to say, well, that it's only going to last 40,000 miles as a Harley, that's not true. I've seen Road Kings and several Harley Davidson motorcycles have well over 100,000 miles on them and still going strong. It all depends on what you're doing too. It depends on, like I said, are you riding it? Are you maintaining it? Are you changing the oil? Are you doing these things? If you're not doing them things, well, of course it's not going to last. It might last only 40,000 miles. It might last 20,000 miles if you don't properly maintain your motorcycle or your vehicle. And this comes from a guy that, was in the automotive industry for 30 plus years. And I've seen a lot of things, and I've seen people say, well, it's only got, 25,000 miles on it. Okay, you got 25,000 miles on it, but you haven't changed the oil. You have not changed the transmission fluid. Well, it's only got 25,000 miles on it. Yeah, but maybe the car's 5 years old or 6 years old or 7 years old. It might only have 25,000 miles on it, but those fluids break down. People say, oh, fluids don't break down by just sitting somewhere. Yeah, they do. Because you gotta understand condensation, moisture in the engine, moisture in the transmission. These things get moisture in them. Coolant goes bad if it's a car, truck. These things go bad just over time. And people will say, well, I had a truck. I know a guy that said this to me, and I guess it's possible. He said, I had a truck. I bought it brand new, put 100,000 miles on it, never changed the oil, and it was still running when I got rid of it. So all he did was add oil when it started using oil. I said, oh, okay. Maybe so. You know, I'm not calling the guy a liar. Maybe so. Maybe it did do that. But that's rare. That's very rare for something like that to happen. But I guess it's a possibility. But yeah, I know. I just was thinking about it as I was riding by the same vehicle every time I go out, and I see it sitting there, and I see it sitting there, and I see it sitting there, and I'm thinking, man, does that thing ever get moved? And it's like, it's not good to let a vehicle sit. Like I said, whether it's either a motorcycle or car, truck, whatever. I know I bought a bike a few years back, and well, it's probably been about 5 years now, and it had 2,500 miles on it, and it was an older bike, and I want to say it was probably a good 5-6 years old, something like that, maybe older. And I thought, well, this is gonna be great, and I should have known better. I've been around a long time. I thought, well, yeah, but it hasn't been ridden, you know, but it looks great and everything. Ended up having engine noise. I had to figure out what that was, and I think it was lifters. And it had a noise in the rear of the bike. I thought it was tires. It wasn't. And it ended up having all kinds of issues I had to fix. And that was due to the fact that the bike sit for so many years. You know, people just don't understand. Letting these mechanical things sit is not good for them. It's better to have them out running, putting the miles on them, maintaining them, changing the oil. They're going to last longer than if you just sit it in the garage and put it away. Now if you store it properly, if you want to keep something, a vehicle, or you know, you want to store it properly and drain all the fluids out of it, drain, you know, the coolant out of it if it has coolant, and set it up on blocks and do it the right way, you can do that. But then, I don't know, what's the point? What's the point? This is just my opinion, and you guys out there might have a different opinion, but what's the point of owning anything, any kind of vehicle, motorcycle, whatever it is, and never ride it and never use it and just have it sitting there? Much respect to you if that's what you do, and that's what you like, is just to see it sitting there and it's like a trophy. But I just can't see that, and it's bad on the motorcycle or vehicle, like I've said repeatedly. You guys know me. But yeah, get out. You know, my advice, for what it's worth, and my opinion, which everybody's got one, is get out and ride that thing, man. Get out and drive that thing. Get out and enjoy it, because letting it sit is not helping it. It's actually destroying it. Letting something sit and deteriorate like that is not good. And if you don't really want it, you don't really want to ride it, I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that would be interested in taking it from you and buying it from you. Anyway, just my thoughts. Just, you know, when I was thinking about, like I said, driving by the same vehicle, sitting in the same motorcycle, sitting in the same spot every day. It's like, you know, why have it if you're not going to enjoy it? And if you're not going to enjoy it, sell it off to somebody that will ride it and will enjoy it. Hey, you guys, thanks for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe. It helps out the channel a lot. I see people that they view the video, but they don't hit that like button, and I know how it is. I've done it too. I've watched videos too on YouTube and forgot to hit that like button. But like I said, subscribe and leave a comment. We appreciate it. Hey, you guys, be safe out there, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care now.